Ba beep beep bom beep 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 bom beep ba ba bom. Ba beep beep bom ba beep beep bom beep ba ba bom. Ba 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 ba. Ba beep beep bom beep 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 bom beep ba ba bom. Ba beep beep bom ba beep beep bom beep ba ba bom. Ba 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 ba.
Ecology is the study of the interactions of organisms with each other and their environment. So ecology might look at how cold-tolerant plants are found in higher latitudes. Well, except those found on mountains at high altitudes. Or ecologists might look at how plants survive by using solar radiation to keep them warm enough to reproduce. Well, except those that use metabolic heat to warm their seeds. Or ecologists might look at how those plants in that family have a random distribution because the seeds are distributed by the wind, except for the one species that is clumped because mice cache them around their nest. This ecology stuff seems to be just a collection of separate examples. Or so you might think. Let's look again at the definition of ecology. Because there are different ways to organize organisms in their environment, there are many different levels incorporated into this definition. You might study how individuals are adapted to the environments like fluting in the desert cacti that allow the plant to expand to take in and store water in rare rain events. You could also look at how populations of the same species interact, like where these water voles choose to nest. They actually decide on sites that are close to other members of their species, but not close to high density areas. An even broader view might incorporate how multiple species interact. For instance, predator-prey interactions, and how predator populations may be determined based on the number in the prey population, such as this example of the lynx and hare. Layering another factor over these, you could look at how abiotic factors in an ecosystem affect location of plants and the cascading effects the plants have on higher trophic levels. Then, if you looked at multiple ecosystems, you might see patches in the landscape or large-scale features that create effects on the organisms living on it. For example, the physical layout of islands or mountains may limit the number and types of species found on them. So ecology, because it is the interaction between organisms and their environment, can range from the individual through connections between ecosystems. However, there is another dimension in the definition of ecology. Interactions don't have a specified time. So the relationships between two organisms may have dynamics that occur on the scale of seconds, days, years, decades, or millennia. For instance, if we look at the relationship between gypsy moth and an oak tree, it has a short-term relationship with the tree in that the larva will migrate to the top of the tree during the day and to the bottom of the tree at night. It has longer population dynamics where the female will lay her roughly 200 eggs on the side of the tree. If the population density per tree gets too high, the larva will balloon or send a silk thread up to catch an air current to transport them to better habitat. It also has an evolutionary relationship with the tree, where the tree has adaptations to reduce herbivory, such as tannins in the leaves, and the larva has adaptations, such as preferring young leaves that lack the defensive chemical. Having two variables for how to think about ecology gives us a grid as a way to think about and arrange ecological concepts. For example, if you were interested in an invasive species, you might record its daily migratory patterns, which might be measurements of individuals, or population dynamics, such as growth rates. Is it growing exponentially or logistically? Which could fit in days to years depending on the species? What types of interspecific relationships does it create? Will this likely lead to competitive exclusion of another species? Can you think of a process or concept for each of these boxes?